Do you want me to check? Should be like.
It got me one time. I had to put on that white suit and go down inside one of those tanks to change something. And then went ahead and told the lady to flush it, see if it was working.
So you can set it.
You know what?
Yeah, it's like. All right. Let's see. It is 6:05. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. States, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So this is the public hearing for the 2026 budget hearing budget. I've given everybody copies of all the budget forms for next year. It actually ended up going down a little bit from 2025, not too much. 2025's budget is 1,052,650, and 2026 budget will be 991,755. And I actually put a little bit more in certain funds this year for next year because our software we're going to need soon to get a new software system because they sold to a different company. So I put a little bit more in the budget for that, and then to cover paving because we have a lot in reserve. So I put some more money in the general fund to be able to cover paving. So that is one, the first part of it. I also sent you guys an email letting you know that our circuit breaker loss typically is around $1,100 or $1,200. The circuit breaker is the funds that we aren't able to collect due to property tax credits. Well, it's going up over 1,100%, so about $34,700. If we reallocate salaries, then I sent you, like I said, you have all the spreadsheets and everything of that. But if we reallocate salaries for elected officials, then that deficit is almost 100% covered. And then no taxpayers are going to be affected with it. That is just salaries alone. That does not include benefits. It does not include insurance or anything like that. So that number would even increase with that one. So I've spoken with a couple of different people, great consultants, and consultants I use. They all agree that's a very smart move in order for us to recover these funds. And so taxpayers is going to be, basically seamless with them on our end. So I know Jim Higgins is here. He wants to discuss a little bit. We also will have a appropriation reduction in MVH for $35,000 since we're not paving this year. I want to do that reduction, and then we can use those funds for 2026. Anyone have any questions with that? We can let Jim. I also emailed you Jim's report that he did, and then along with the presentation that DLGF did at the conference over the summer.
Well, it asked anyone here from the public is here to address the issue of the 2026 budget? No? Okay. Then I think you closed the public hearing on it. Right?
Okay.
Right. So that when that's concluded.
Yes.
Yeah. Then move on to your agenda.
Okay. So we'll close the public hearing, and then we will open the regular meeting. Well, Jim wants to, yeah.
Whatever you work me out.
We could do the appropriation reduction, then, like I said, it is, resolution 2025-06. Or actually, hang on, let me check on it. You remember if it was an ordinance or the resolution, please?
Well, it's typically a resolution.
Okay. Yeah, so it's resolution 2025-06, and that is the appropriation reduction in MVH of $35,000.
I understand that's money you have. It's not money you found. It's not, it's money that you have that was appropriated to be spent this year, but you're not spending it this year. So you're taking it out of this year's budget, that frees it up, makes it available to be added, and appropriated in the budget. Six. It's housekeeping. That's all.
You said MVH, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the appropriation. You said resolution, right?
Reduction.
Yeah.
Okay, the resolution, the appropriation reduction, the amount of 35,000. And it's 2025-06.
Second.
Votes.
Second, our LRS money that we haven't spent this year.
Nothing has nothing to do with it, because that's MVH. So MVH and LRS are separate.
So we have the addition, same amount of money in 26's budget. We have that
I would have to compare to see what
addition to what we were going.
well, it's not in addition. So how it works is the DLGF looks at what we budget every year, and they look at it and say, you've appropriated, let's just say, $10,000 in MVH. And we did not, we'll just say $50,000 in MVH. And we did not end up spending, we only spent $10,000. So really we have $40,000. But the DLGF looks at it as we have $0 at the end of the year because we told them we were going to spend 50. So they think we're going to spend 50. So the next year, if we say we're going to spend 40, they say, no, you don't have money because you spent everything. Well, in reality, you do. You only spent 10. That really makes sense, but it probably does. So it only, like Lee says, it only frees up money to move into next year and reduces what we told them we were going to spend. So instead of spending $50,000, we're reducing that by $35,000. So now we're only spending $15,000. So then that $35,000, the DLGF looks at it as a whole to see, okay, they have this much money to spend now instead of this much money. It helps to approve next year's budget because we're not spending the money.
Coming into a paving project, right? You're pushing the money that would have been used to match your community crossing grant, and you're shoving it into next year. Look,
Paving money typically comes out of LRS.
no, it doesn't. That's MVH.
It can come out of LGF, but the majority is MVH.
And
That's
a few
the
years
purpose of
ago-
MVH.
A few years ago, there was a requirement that 50% of MVH had to be restricted
Correct.
for paving projects to be used to match. And so it is, in the last few years, they have required that we earmark the MVH. The whole purpose is so it'll be there to match the community crossing grant money. And is this restricted MVH?
It is.
It is. So because the paving project wasn't done, we didn't have a grant we needed to match. We want to be able to maximize our grant eligibility, how much we can get for community crossing grant next year. That's all driven by how much money we have to match, how much we're asking for. So we really are just shoving it across into the next calendar year. And the plan surely is to apply for community crossing grant money next year, right?
Yeah.
Remember, I'm sorry, who was our street guy?
Mike.
Right?
Or
Remember
Terry.
one? Terry.
Oh,
Terry.
Terry, yeah.
Yeah, well, Terry explained that there was some kind of mistake on, I think, our mileage. And so we didn't get our community crossing grant money this year. And had we got that money would have been used to match, right? And since we didn't, we're gonna just shove it in next year's budget.
So my question is, are we gonna get this money on top of what we would usually get?
Well,
Or
no,
is it all-
it's already our money. We're not getting any more money. We're not returning any money. The only thing we're doing is telling the DLGF that we're not using these funds this year.
I understand that part.
Okay.
but are we still gonna get our normal appropriations for MVH?
Yes, we appropriate what we want. The only thing the DLGF looks at is if we're gonna have at least 15% of the fund left at the end of the year. They don't look at our line by line by line and say, okay, I'm gonna let you appropriate this. They only look at if we're gonna have enough money of what we say we're gonna do. So it's not like they're giving us anything. They're just giving us the permission to spend it.
So my question is, did we enlarge the scope of our CC, Community Crossing Grant match to encompass this year's money and next year's, make it one large project like it was a 2-year?
Well, not right now. If we need to do an additional next year, then we can, because right now, the
See,
only,
that kind of puts us, halt to us. on
it
our
doesn't
application.
put a halt to anything, because the only thing you have to do is if we need to make an additional appropriation, you just need 10 days to do a public budget hearing. So it doesn't put us at any kind of advantage or disadvantage. The money is still in our bank account. It doesn't go anywhere. Appropriation just means permission to spend.
That's the way to think of it. It's not changing anything in how much money we have or how much money that DLGF may ultimately approve in the budget. It's about having money and then having to have permission from DLGF to spend our money. We had permission to spend that money in this year, but we didn't. So we want that money to go into next year. We want to report to DLGF that we didn't spend the money you said we could spend this year. So they don't count it against us as if it was spent, right? Yeah. And doesn't create more money. It doesn't cause the town to have more money than the town already had. It's all about permission to spend your money. And so that's what this will do. It will allow this money to be moved into next year, and we'll have permission to spend it next year in the form of a map to the community crossing grant. And if you all want to go for more money, you can free up a general fund or probably local road and street or unrestricted MDH and pool some money and try to go after a larger amount if you want.
25%, actually 20%.
Get it? You're right. Yeah, you're right. It is. You need to go after a big project next year because you didn't get anything this year, right? So you need to set your sights really high.
Is your question answered? Okay,
Clear as mud.
got it.
The budget is not an easy, it is incredibly difficult,
No.
and extremely
I ran my household budget.
complicated.
So budget.
So,
Well, the concept of appropriation is tricky too, because you really aren't getting permission to spend your own money. But that's how it works.
yeah, that's bottom line, easiest way to think about it is exactly what he said. You're just getting permission to spend your own money. You're not, no one's taking money away from us. No one's giving us extra money. We don't ask for it, see if we get it. Just saying we want to be able to spend this much money, and it's at the end of the year. As long as we have at least 15% of the fund left, they're gonna say okay. So,
Votes?
Yes.
Yes.
so that was just for the appropriation reduction. Yes. Yeah, we need a approval for the 2026 budget. A motion. Need a second.
I make a motion to approve the 2026 budget as in our packets. Votes?
Second.
Or, I'm sorry,
Second.
Anthony second. Votes? Or questions?
Yes, with reservations.
Yes.
Yes. All right. All right, so are we done with budget stuff? Okay, Greg Southers needs to skedaddle, so we're gonna let him go first real quick.
Apologize, I'm No, I know it's good. Didn't see you, yeah.
So I can look at the weather, so I'm gonna. Real quick. I want to apologize to the board, you guys, for my actions last meeting. I let my feelings get the best of me. I was a jerk to Anthony and I have apologized to him and I'm apologizing to all you guys too. I'm very sorry. Very sorry.
Thank you. We forgive you.
Now to business. On the back of my report, you guys will see the abandoned vehicle report that me and Philip have been working on. You will see an address on there of 8420 South Kimmon. This is the North Cut property that you guys have heard me talk about. Drug activity. We have two houses, the North Cuts and Mark Miller's residence, 209 West Lakeview. I don't want to call it harassment, but I have been on North Cuts to get the property cleaned up. They've already removed two of their junky cars this month and last month. So that's four cars on the list that I haven't gotten removed. The new ones below that are the ones that me and Phil are working on right now. And this is just a touch. This is just a touch of what we got in town. But I want you guys to know what we're working on, since this all came to a head a couple months ago. Okay. So second, what I want to do is I want the board's permission to be able to give our town attorney the reports and information that I've collected over the last 3 years from Mark Miller's house, to file, habitual. Just this year, we've been to his house 24 times on dispatch room. Last year, 16. The year before that, 13. I didn't print them off all week, but I gave you a variety. I mean, we're dealing with burning trash every night, overdose, drug dealing. But I needed the permission from you guys to give him this to start the process.
Is this an owned or rented?
It's owned right now, but it's in the process of foreclosing, so we don't know where it lays.
Oh.
But they're still there. You can go by now, junky cars, abandoned,
What's the address again?
209.
Is it the 209 or the 8420?
No, it's 209 West Lake. The other one is just, that's,
I see.
it's our top two problem.
Yeah.
Are you guys were good with me turning this over to him and letting him? Okay. I have a crime analyst from Greenwood. These are all the runs for 23, 24, and 25, and then there's all the cases.
Okay, great, thanks. And some of them are drug related.
Yeah, and then Phil can probably bring up the ordinance violations that we've been doing. Years. I'm sorry I'm sick, but I had one of my officers, Jim, he helped me. My mission was to give the reserves and part-time guys something to drive nice. Jim has really hit it hard with these dealerships. I mean, he got us, I thought it was 20, he got us $14,000 from one dealership. On our old two police cars, and one of them doesn't even run. So I'm gonna let him present that to you. If you guys don't, oh, hang on, Jim, 1 second. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on replacing an officer. If you have ideas or anything. I found one that worked for Whiteland School Police Department. He left last year to go in the private sector and hates it. He wants to get back on the police department. His name's Jordan Anderson. He's 28 years old. He's married, 2 kids, lives in the Franklin Whiteland area in that mix right there. He's willing to start out as part-time to see if he likes it, if we like him. Trying to save money and not have to go through a hiring.
you guys wanna hire somebody and send him to the academy and lose him for 15 weeks now. And we stick on the short man schedule, we can do, I'll do whatever you guys wanna do. I'm just trying to find something, he's a good person.
If we hire him full-time now or later, he still has to go to the academy or
He's
no?
on Academy is certified.
So then, I thought you just said,
No, if we do a hiring process
oh, if it
to
was somebody
hire a
else,
new
got it.
person,
Okay,
then yes, there's that chance that. But Jordan's already been to the academy, he's tier
Okay.
one, so he's the top of the list.
As far as I'm concerned, he's the boss of the department. He knows who he wants. He ought to hire who he.
I mean, is he interested in full-time?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
He,
okay,
he said he knows how our money is. We're a small town. He said he would come in and FTO and learn part-time pay, no insurance, no nothing, just to get his feet wet and see what our town's about. Jim Coffey, Jim's not interested. Jim rode with him. I just met him one time on the original interview. So Jim Coffey thinks he's A+2. So I want to give that to you real quick. I don't know what you guys' thoughts are or patterns are on what you want to do. I just kind of wanted to get the schedule back to normal. And I thought that, Jordan would be a good addition. Good temperament. He's worked in the school police at Whiteland for, I think it was 5 years. And then before that, he was at before that, he was a reserve with, Nashville Police Department.
I'm concerned he ain't done it yet.
what?
I said, as far as I'm concerned, he hasn't done it yet.
I mean,
I'll let you guys think about it. Fair enough? I'll let you guys think about it. And you guys get back with me. All right, I don't want to be breathing on you. I don't even know what I had. It could be my diabetes acting up. I don't know, but I have not been doing good. So
I don't have to
I
watch it.
I would say if he's needing a,
yeah,
if he wants to get a
Yeah.
part-time, check
I-
things out,
you're good with that.
let it go.
Me and Erica have talked about money and things like that. So
Run with it.
Yeah.
Go.
if I got your backing, okay. All right.
I hope you feel better.
Jim, you do your thing and I'm gonna get out of you guys' hair, okay? Anything else?
No, just feel better.
But, look, listen, Greg, I can talk to you about this, but I was just looking before you got out here. You know, there is this new requirement that before hiring a new officer, you've got to contact every
Agency,
agency they
yes,
worked for before.
we got one.
Okay.
And I wanted to find out what their feeling was on it before I did that.
And so, and you've got to ask for information from them. So, but
I
make sure
gotta
you
ask for
satisfy,
the whole personnel
yeah,
file.
make sure we satisfy that, we check that box before you bring him on.
Okay.
He's part-time,
What?
he's part-time.
Or any personal law enforcement including, including even a reserve. Shall contact every law enforcement department or agency that is employed or the applicant requested employee department rates provide, and then a list of the things they have to provide. So he knows about it, but I'm not saying this to.
No.
Just make sure you check the box.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Okay. Anything else?
Bye.
All right, I'm
I'll
out.
get well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for allowing Jim to present this. I told him to hit the high points and make it quick.
I make a motion to water.
I know what you're going for.
I make a motion to approve the October minutes, regular minutes.
Okay, October,
Oh, last month, what, August?
August?
Yeah.
Second? Votes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So Greg asked me to put together. Sorry, you ready?
Who seconded that? Was that Anthony or you?
I made,
Or no, I seconded it, sorry. Okay, go ahead, I'm so sorry.
Greg asked me to put together some information for you guys regarding the full vehicle. I call it the full vehicle. It's the one that all the reserves and the part-time people use. You want to get a newer vehicle, so sorry, I get nervous standing up at the shoulder.
That's okay.
I'm a mechanical engineer. I sit behind a computer and I don't look at anybody, so. So I put together all this information and I got a lot of stuff to back it up, but basically going through the list that Greg gave me as far as people to contact. Just real highlights, from top to bottom, the best deal that we can get is on another Charger. Um, there's also a Durango in here. There's also information about the Mac Daddy Chevy 1500, which is very expensive, and we definitely don't need that as a full car, but I'm gonna put that in there. And there's the Ford Explorers, which my wife works for IU, and that's all they use, so they seem to like this. I went through and looked at reliability ratings, resale value, the engines, the whole bit, and basically, if you want my opinion on it, which is what it would be, the very first one for $22,540.25, and that's $14,000 for trades for the Durango and the Ram. And I sent them, I've bought and sold over 200 vehicles, so I kind of know how they do things. So I took all kinds of pictures and went through everything with them, so I feel pretty confident on the numbers that they're giving us. So the $14,000 is a trade-in value from Bloomington and Community Chrysler. The best deal that they have, and you look at the third sheet. The third sheet tells you the breakdown of the Charger. So that's a government bid cost minus the $14,000 gives you the $22,542.25, and that's on a new car, 3-year, 36,000 mile bumper to bumper with a 5-year, 100,000 mile limited powertrain warranty. JD Powers and Kelly Blue Book rates are very high, 94 out of 100. Resale value and reliability, and that's on the 3.6 PBT engine, which I'm not a big fan of, but that's what they say that it's a good vehicle. You should be able to get about 100,000 miles out of it before you have a lot of fun. Next on down is Fletcher Chrysler Dodge. I call it the best deal because it's on a Pursuit Durango, which the Pursuit Durango is kind of the best you can get as far as the Durango goes. It's the heavy duty 5.7 liter V8, which is the same engine that's in the Dodge Ram. We can get that one for $30,096 with the trade-in. The very first vehicle, kind of going back, there's going to be some upfitting charges that we're going to have because we don't have a console for it. We do have the radio and all that stuff, so I'll strip that out, put that all back in, but we'll have to buy a console for the Charger. For the Durango, since we have the Durango, I'm hoping that everything can just be swapped out, so we won't have any upfitting charges. That's the hope. And then on down, I mean, I can continue with it. I don't want to take up all your time. You can look it over. It goes into other vehicles and what they offer, ending with the Fords. Again, best reliability and everything is the first vehicle, the Charger. Next, I would say the Durango is probably coming in. Is a decent reliability, and especially because the VA. I mean, our driving here is different than what a lot of these. If you look online, they talk about how the car is being used, or the way that we do things here a little bit different. There's more idle time and more low speed stuff going on here than there is for like your average city and state stuff. So you kind of have to factor that into this. If you guys have any questions, you can get a hold of me, and then all the information in here. Plus, I have more. So I do okay.
You did great.
Other than being, I can't stand standing up and talking to people.
That's okay.
Since
You
you are,
got them.
since you are a CLP, which one do you suggest?
Which one do I suggest? I mean,
Which one do you
I
feel
really don't.
confident with?
So they all have plus and minuses. If I could have my pick, it would be the Dodge Durango because it's the Pursuit edition, and V8 engines are just like a very good motor. Plus, resale value on the Dodge Durango is probably is higher than the Charger. But then again, if you're looking for just overall budget, the Charger's going to be really good.
Yeah, the Charger back-wheel drive, how's it gonna do?
All-wheel drive. Everyone has all-wheel drive. Yes, that's a good point. So they're all all-wheel drive vehicles.
Looked at any of the 1500 Ford?
Yes. Oh, 1500 Ford? No, I can't get anybody to. So I've talked to a couple people about that. I can't get any like information on the 1500 Fords. Like it's not something that they really sell a lot of. I mean, look it up and talk to me about it because, I tried. The Chevy and the Dodge, when it comes to trucks, now you're talking about the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Chevy and the Dodge truck, they're a little bit more readily available and a little bit more used often, and those are called the SS special service vehicle. So when it comes to a Ford, a Dodge, and a Chevy, this is all based upon I spent pretty much all day researching this instead of, I work 60 hours a week in my day job. So if my boss knew what I spent my time today doing, he'd be mad at me, um, but I
That's what
spent.
I want YouTube.
He's also a good friend of mine, so good. But, anyway, so the truck, the Chevy and the Ford, they're all special service vehicles. The special service vehicle just means that it can be outfitted to, for, like the water utility companies, it's a special service vehicle. It's not considered rated specifically for police. That's the pursuit package. And some companies offer a pursuit package in the trucks and some don't, but it's a lot more money. Like for example, to get the pursuit package Chevy 1500, it's $57,000.
That's my big question on that pursuit package would be, we have, I mean, we aren't on an interstate or a county highway.
Right.
I mean, we're not just a standard V8
No,
in
so,
speed.
and I would imagine it'd be fine. So what makes it a pursuit vehicle? And again, I can go through the information with you, we're not doing here. But there's things that make it the pursuit vehicle versus the special service vehicle. And there was a list that I didn't print out because I didn't think that would be something everybody would be interested in, but I have that list if you ever want to go through that with me and see what the difference is. Plus Google AI, you can Google it and see what the difference is. And it'll bring it up as to what the difference is. Primarily, it seems that the pursuit package has the wiring and stuff for the police stuff more than the special service vehicle does. Special service vehicles, some of them have the alternating lights, what they call the wigwag, I guess, lights. Some of them do, some of them don't. The police package version or the pursuit version, they all have that, plus other wiring. And like, for example, there's even a pursuit Explorer, and the Pursuit Explorer has the lights in the rear and in the front already built in, the LEDs. So the Pursuit, so that's some of the things that I noticed that were different from just the special service vehicle. But other than that, like oversized brakes, additional cooling, bigger alternators, stuff like that, I think they're kind of across the board as far as Pursuit or SSV. But I'm real limited on the knowledge when it comes to what those differences are.
I think some of them also have a step up chip package on motors too.
Yeah, that would make sense that they would. Yeah, because I think that on the pursuit vehicle, and I didn't research this, is just what I heard, is the pursuit vehicle probably has things that's turned off that wouldn't be on a special service vehicle. Like, I think I was reading somewhere they were talking about the anti-collision. Like in a police pursuit vehicle, they turn off the anti-collision because you want to ram a vehicle. And if you're in a special service vehicle and you need to do a pit, not that we're going to do a pit, but if you're going to do a pit, it's going to break before you hit the bad guy. So yeah, it's maybe one of the differences.
Well, and I remember too, with the Durangos, we always had a lot of problems with those, a ton of issues. We were trying to get away from those. That's why we went with the vehicle that Greg has now. So I just remember that.
So, yes, and I read about that too. So the 2025 and earlier editions, they talked about transmission issues, electrical issues. But you can research any car and they all seem to have that. And then for 2026, there's not enough information on the 2026, but they say that this supposedly it fixed those issues for this year. So, but there's since the 2026, there's not a lot of information out there to say whether it's been fixed or not.
Yeah, so we haven't had any issues with what Greg's currently in it.
Maybe
Ford Explorer.
try contacting Wood from Brown County Sheriff's Department.
Okay.
They've got a lot of Ford F-150s.
Okay.
West Knoxville Sheriff down there. So
Okay. Yeah, I can do those.
just kind of see what kind of rating they're giving their trucks. They've had it for several years. So
Okay. Yeah, I can do it.
Me personally, I would rather see you guys have a truck
Well, so,
than a car.
and I appreciate you saying that, but I can tell you from a pool vehicle standpoint, and I've only been doing this for 2 years. My background's 35 years in mechanical robotics and engineering. So I've been police officer about 2 years here. But in those 2 years, one of the things that I've noticed is if you're gonna have somebody, if you're gonna have a car that's gonna be used as the pool car or they call it the hot seat car. I didn't know that that was even what it was called till I Google AI'd it. Um, you're gonna have a lot of different style of drivers in that car, and some of the drivers may not be as comfortable in a truck, and especially on some of these roads, because it's in a night or even in the day, some of these dead end roads, it's very difficult to turn that vehicle around. I consider myself a good driver, and it Greg's Tahoe, which like Tahoe's great, but it's difficult to maneuver on these streets. The truck's difficult to maneuver on the streets. I mean, can you do it? If you're a truck guy, sure, and that's no problem. But there might be some people that aren't truck guys, and I don't know how long we plan on keeping this vehicle and how long we plan on getting new reserves or whoever that may be using a pool car. So one of the reasons why I stuck to the smaller vehicle is for that reason.
Good point. You did great on this.
Okay. Well, if there's any guys have any questions, feel free to give me a call or something. Okay.
Don't give up your part-time stuff.
Yeah. I need to go make a move for my boss. Okay.
Jim, do you wanna go next?
Your pleasure.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Erica did great favors by calling when I provided you a report, really just 2 pages, on an Excel spreadsheet. So the first piece that I provided you was a snippet of what the DLGF presented at the clerk's conference, and not all of it. I only took some pieces of it to talk about the first major changes of Senate Enrolled Act 1, which is the property tax relief bill. And so what has happened, and the reason that your circuit breaker has gone up 1,100%, is that a lot of the things that used to be deductions and assessed value are now credits. And the credits that you're being given are after the circuit breakers. So this is just a way of enhancing tax relief for us as taxpayers. So if you had a veterans deduction and an over 65 deduction, that used to be a reduction of your assessed value. That assessed value is what's used to determine the tax. Because you're allowed to levy taxes, property taxes, whatever your assessed value is, then determines the rate that everybody pays, and then we pay proportionally. Well, when they change these from deductions to credits, it impacts the bottom line. So your circuit breaker goes from what was in 2025, $2,700 to estimated next year over $30,000. Now, part of what I presented in my little worksheet was that gets offset primarily by your levy. So you're allowed to grow your levy 4% next year, not including the CCD fund, because that is a rate control, right? Your cum cap development fund is 5 cents on every bit of assessed value. So your levy is going to grow $15,000 next year. Your circuit breaker is going to go up $31,000 next year. So you start going into 2026 from a position of revenue and a net loss of $16,000. Now, I've heard legislators say, well, your circuit breaker loss is offset by your levy, which is kind of like telling you you're not getting a raise this year, or you're getting a raise this year, but your health insurance is going, right? At the end of the day, you have less money to operate on, no new money. And in your case, you're going to have less new money. You're actually going to suffer a little bit of a loss on that end. And it's going to get, in my opinion, worse over time. Over the next 5 years, they're changing the way assessed values work. And that was the other part of the sheet that I gave you that showed you what a $200,000 home assesses for in a net assessed value today. $200,000 home, by the time you take a homestead deduction, a supplemental homestead deduction, assesses for $98,800. In 2030, that same property, no increases for inflation on the assessment. If the 2030 rules were in place today, it would assess at 65 too. It's a 34% reduction of assessed value. Levy remaining constant, assessed value goes down, tax rates go up. Everybody's tax rate's going up because it's gonna impact the town, the library, the county, the township. Everybody's tax rate's going up, circuit breakers will increase. This will become a self-fulfilling kind of prophecy that we're just gonna drive circuit breakers, which is gonna reduce dollars that we're gonna have available to us. In the budget world, which I kindly refer to as mathematical gymnastics, just added degrees of difficulty to what we're gonna have to perform over the next several years unless there are changes made, and I fear there are gonna be changes made, but I think they're gonna be worse rather than better. So that's the first piece. Not only, and I think I referenced this at the last meeting, not only are we giving reductions in assessed value to property owners that have like homesteads, we're giving reductions of assessed value to non-homestead owners. Their assessments will drop too. I mean, you're not going to get a homestead credit, but you're going to get a separate credit that again will drop. That $200,000 home today, if it's not your primary home, will have a net assessed value of $200,000. There's no deductions. Well, in 2030, that $200,000 home will assess at 133. So it's going to have a reduction.
And those are landlords, right?
Those are landlords. Those are people with second homes. You know, I have a home here now, but I still have my home in Indianapolis, and I keep that as my homestead until I sell it because the tax rates there are significantly higher. To do the math and think, when am I moving the homestead? I didn't move it this year.
But it will also be residential rental property, class two
Well,
property.
It would be
Yes.
class two properties. It would be agricultural property
Yeah.
as well.
Okay.
I mean, everybody's getting a break. So they've taken all three legs of the assessed value stool. Homesteads, non-homesteads and ag, and business personal property, and they've reduced it. So all they're doing is shrinking your tax base. If you're shrinking your tax base in order to maintain the same levy, tax rates are gonna go up. So we'll pay a higher tax rate on a lower assessed value. And then all of us will be protected by the circuit rate, by the 1, 2, or 3% cap that we fall on. So we're just playing with how the numbers work, but at the end of the day, all that means is we're gonna have less money. And that's the one thing that we need to understand. 2026 isn't a huge budget bill. It's $30,000. As Erica said, there are ways to absorb. And a lot of that's going to be absorbed through the shifting of expenses between the town and the utilities, which I wholeheartedly agree. You spend most of your time on utility matters anyway. It probably makes sense to do that allocation. The second piece that's coming in 2028 is the loss of local income taxes. Local income taxes, as we know them today, go away in 2028, and they can be replaced at the county council's pleasure up to a 1.2% rate. So currently, you get in 2026, you're estimated to get $321,000 in local income taxes, and that's certified shares that are provided by the distribution from the county and your economic development income tax, your edit tax. Well, your economic development income tax right now is about $62,000 a year, and that's based on 0.25%. If the county gives you the whole 1.2%, then that amounts to $298,000. So they're going to take away your current income tax stream, $321,000. The most you're going to be able to get is $298,000. You're going to have another $22,000 loss annually every year in 2028.
Current rate's about 1.8%.
Current rate, I think, is about 1.8. And you could replace it with 1.2. And again, you can't do it because of your population. You have to petition the county and ask the county to put it. But
this idea, and I've heard it all before. People said, well, you're gonna get to raise your income tax to make up for your lost tax. Well, you're not. Because the income tax they're gonna allow you to raise isn't even enough to cover what you're currently getting. So there's no new revenue there. And levy growth isn't covering circuit breaker loss. Because we see that next year. So this idea of doing more with less is gonna be, and to be creative in the way that we do things. It's gonna be the way that things are gonna have to be done. When we shrink assessed value, this is the third part that where there'll be revenue loss. When we shrink the assessed value by a third, when we get to 2030, what we're getting in the Cume Cap Development Fund, right, which is now about $60,000, I think, in a levy, it's gonna shrink. Because it's 5 cents on the assessed value gets lower, you're gonna lose a third of it. You're gonna lose a third of that 60, that's gonna drop to 40, which is another $20,000 cut. So if you just start looking at it, it may seem like $60,000 a year is what we're most likely gonna lose. And incrementally more as we go on. There are people, and I know you talked about what Adam was doing, like in New England, that you could go through all the minutia and get to it. I didn't think today was the day to go through the minutia, because again, the legislature is gonna change things. They're gonna go into session later this year or early next year. I saw something today that kind of indicated that they may go into session in November and just meet through the holidays and just start the session early to deal with some of these things and some other things that might be on their plate. But I think they're gonna go in and they're gonna tinker with it this year in the short session and again the following year in the longer session. And I don't think they're gonna do a lot to provide you with relief. That's just, they'll give relief here. But even us as taxpayers, I think we're gonna see very little property tax credits, these $300 credits that we're gonna get, or 10%, whatever that number is. But we're gonna see our income tax maybe not go up necessarily, but we could see it go up and wind up with less money at the end of the day. The $300 credit, by the way, that we get as a taxpayer, we eat as a town 22% of that. So of that $300 credit that you get on your property taxes, roughly $70 of that would come here to the town. Because that's our relationship of our tax rate to the total tax rate that we pay. So that's my 2-minute, 2-page spiel. I'm a big fan of reports, but I like to keep it simple so that I can talk about it. So I just tried to put it into 2 pages. The DLGF stuff was just for your kind of background and edification on what kind of the changes that are coming are, but we know this first shoe that will drop and then we'll see what else drops over the next couple of years. But happy to answer any questions that you might have about the 26 impact, the 27 impact, the 28 impact.
The expectation be that the county will make available the maximum 1.2%.
I think so.
They're gonna have a lot of pressure to do that.
But they're gonna have to do it themselves, right? So they're gonna get to raise up to 1.2. You're gonna be able to, the locals are gonna be able to petition to 1.2. And then they can do an extra 0.3 or 0.4 for EMS and fire. But the total can't be more, somebody has to take a bite because not everybody gets the max. But again, that's why you're gonna see tax rates that are like 1.8 that are gonna grow to closer to 2.7 or 2.9. That we're all gonna have to pay, because we're gonna have to pay to make up the county's loss and the town's loss and the fire loss. And when we do all that, we're gonna wind up paying significantly more, I think. The majority of the taxpayers than what they're gonna save in property tax relief. But people will be able to say, I delivered property tax relief to you, but and your income tax relief, you gotta take that up with,
But at the state level, they can boast about what they've done for property owners across Indiana.
yes.
And the way I think of it is, if you have a family budget and you decide you're not gonna feed the children anymore, you can stay within your budget a lot more easily,
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
And the way I look at it is, it's the state deciding, we're gonna be the heroes by giving property tax relief across the citizens of the state of Indiana. They're gonna think that's wonderful. and your kids, you're not gonna get fed.
Right.
And then it's incumbent upon all of you to figure out some way to deliver the service you deliver locally to your constituents. But your parents aren't feeding you anymore. And so you gotta figure out some way to stare at the constituents sitting in this room. And somehow either be the bad guys trying to figure out a way to impose more in the way of local income tax through the county, or take away the services you've been providing in the past.
Or find
it's good.
creative ways to raise.
I created it, yeah. And we're not big enough for a wheel tax here in Princess Lakes. You have
We have a wheel
5,000
tax.
or more. What's that?
We get wheel tax.
You got from the county, but you can't impose one of your own.
Right, yes,
Right, because
but
you're
I don't
not-
think that changes, right?
Right, that
Wheel
didn't,
tax-
you can adopt a wheel tax,
We can't.
but
We're
you
not big
can't,
enough.
you're not big enough.
Right,
Which impacts community crossings down the road, but,
right, I mean, we don't, the
You-
local
you
wheel
Your
tax,
share
will
from
be
the
in.
county.
Yes,
but like Franklin and Greenwood moved to adopt wheel
Yeah.
tax.
And New Island did too, and then we pulled the plug.
Yeah,
When they changed House Bill 46 went the last second, because it's a double tax.
yes, because you would pay two wheel taxes at that point.
Yeah, we didn't have the appetite
Yeah,
for it.
there's one thing if you're paying $40 a car, it's another thing when it goes to 80. But I mean, that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be, you're gonna get nickel and dimed with fees in order to hold property taxes low.
And they have to lean more on your utilities to make up for some of the expenses that are shared now, and wait more on those than what we have.
Well, just what legislators have said, time after time after time. I mean, when the idea of the caps came, we lost $600 million of property tax revenue statewide in 2010. Last year was a little over 1.1 billion. And so that's money that's not being paid by property taxpayers into the system. And the legislators would say, well, we took away 10%, through the circuit breaker credits, and we're not seeing policemen laid off for fire alarms not being answered or services being cut. So you guys figured it out. And so this one is going to be the one that's going to force bigger cities that are losing significantly more than you are
millions.
to have to decide, well, we're going to have to lay people off, or we're not going to have protection. We're not going to have fire runs. We're going to have lower fire service, which increases an ISO, which drives insurance rates up. And so you're going to pay for it one way or another. I think until you see that.
So how does Florida and Tennessee get away with property taxes? No state taxes.
No state taxes, they have other ways of, they have higher income tax, or not income tax, higher sales taxes. And local taxes and food and beverage taxes and vehicle taxes. I mean,
Hospitality tax.
yeah,
They say you're not penalized for your.
well, no. But your property owner is getting the relief from what was deemed to be runaway property taxes. But at the same time, hurting local government where you want the services. So it's gonna force people like us to say, what are you willing to pay for? And I think you're gonna be in a position here 5 or 6 years down the road where you're gonna have to make some really tough decisions.
You said a $1.2 billion shortfall with property taxes alone.
That's what's been taken out with the circuit breakers over the course of time. I mean, what I like to present to people is when Mitch Daniels was governor and had the Blue Ribbon Vernon Shepherd Commission said, if you adopt all of these recommendations, we'll save $600 million a year in tax revenue. And none of those things were adopted. He came up with the idea of the 1%, 2%, 3% cap, and the first year that was put.
From your standpoint, the taxpayers are gonna have to be the ones supplementing the IEDC so that they continue to have their slush fund.
Two totally separate sets of revenues. Your revenue is derived primarily over 50% today by property tax. And then income tax at the local level, and then certain distributions that come into other funds. The IEDC and the state is all funded primarily, there's no property tax that goes to the state. primarily income tax at the state level and, sales tax.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is do away with IEBC, then we've got. Because that's basically a slush fund for the politicians to give to.
And then it just be spent by the state somewhere else. It's not gonna. And I mean, over 60% of every dollar that the state raises goes to K to 12 education, so it's all in schools. Uh, it is mathematical gymnastics to the nth degree, and it's just we're making it hard for local folks to figure out what they need to do without hiring somebody to help, which again doesn't help from a budget perspective.
Jim, that's great, thank you.
Yeah.
How you do a great
Yeah.
job of explaining it. And to your point, you have taken what is really complicated and distilled it down to a very simple explanation. I think everyone's purposes in the moment.
Yeah.
Tell us what we need to know.
I don't think it's as bad here as it is in other places.
It isn't, but it's not great, and it's not gonna get,
And it's not gonna get
hard.
harder.
gonna get harder, because everything's gonna get more expensive, and the revenue and the money you have to spend is gonna go down.
Yeah.
That gap's just gonna get bigger each year. But yeah, that's a great job, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so then we'll move on to public forum. Mike, you wanna go first? We can get you out of here.
Thank you. Just your monthly update on the Parks Board. We're experiencing a lot of thefts out of the garden. The pumpkins, have disappeared, they've been cut off, and they're gone. At least nobody smashed them, right there. And, they're taking stuff out of, the Purdue garden and the ones that the Terra ladies were, cause there seemed to be a little bit ahead of the others. But they started taking off the people who rent from us, taking stuff from them. We're putting a lock on it, combination, for those folks who have paid for their garden, so they can come in and get it. Lastly, on the garden, we have given to the food pantry over 200 pounds
Wow,
of fresh produce.
awesome.
Now,
Thank you.
the trustee is aware of that.
Yeah,
If you recall, I had to go in front of her and tell her what we did with the money. But, over 200 pounds of fresh produce, and, the lady who runs our pantry, over at the Nineveh Christian Church, so people are lined up for it. It's very good. I need some help on the beer garden, the door. I got an email today, from, our vendor, Tipsy Trailers. Greg has signed off on all the paperwork and everything. She has a new form.
We've got it. We've got a resolution to adopt tonight.
That's what I wanted to ask.
We've got it.
Thank you, Lee.
Well, thank Derek, because she's the one who made me aware of it.
Yeah,
Told me we needed to have it, so.
She was on the same email I was on. The Nature Walking Trail is, getting completed. Anthony, thank you for spreading, that last file. We got more coming. Cause we got quite a bit to get done on that. On the Nature Walking Trail, we intend to have it done before the party for the parks. Because we're gonna have some children's activities in there. DNR went through and identified trees for us. And we'll send scavenger hunts in there and so forth. That's part of the party for the parks for the kids, an activity for them.
Mike. Do you want the brush cleared out of the between the big trees to be kept?
It's going to be at some point. If you can do it, get it done, but we wanted to use volunteers and give the Boy Scouts and FFA a chance to come in, get their merit badges. And we talked to them about that. Anthony, I don't know the schedule. I really don't. we normally have a meeting of our Parks Board before we meet here. So I can brief you on everything. Last Thursday, the Parks Board was going to a meeting on the fire station. So we postponed the meeting and moved it to this week. So I have not reconciled the finances with Erica. We've been getting money in donations, couple $1,000 in total, for the Party in the Parks Festival. It's moving and it's moving forward. It's going to be good. Hey, Tony, thank you. Tony and the street department removed 2 dead trees out here that were by the asphalt. By the asphalt walking trail, right by the kids, where the kids go over, mom sets down. So they removed them, you can't even tell they're there. It's really good. Did a good job, thank you very much. Lastly, this is for me. I got a water bill of $350. While I was in the hospital, my children came, took care of the house, watered the plants, and left the outdoor spigots on. Anthony came down, the kindness of his heart, and looked over my property to see if I had leaks. But that's what happened. Scott gave me the report, and I would like permission to work with Scott, get some relief on this sewer side of the bill.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about, just kind of the whole fulfilling
Yeah.
water, yard watering deal. You know, yeah, I don't know why that was.
We'll just do like the 3-month average and we'll say back to that. We graphed it, it was obviously, it happened over pretty much 24 to 48-hour period.
Yeah.
So thank you. That's all your parks have. We're moving forward on stuff, guys. Oh, and I need volunteers. Kevin, normally volunteers for us. You're out of town. I got it.
Is this for the Party of the Parks?
Yeah,
What day is it on again?
October 18th. That's a Saturday. That's the day that, I think it's, school break is,
It is.
people
Fall
are
break.
coming back. Last year, that was quite profitable for us.
I think last year I did pick some pictures. I don't mind to do that again. Yeah, and then if I just gotta make sure that, you know, Hunter's not working overtime and he can keep the kids for me, but yeah.
I can get volunteers, I'd love to have them.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Do we need a motion for Mike's credit?
Yeah, that'd be best.
Thank you.
I make a motion to give Mike credit back on this water, actually, sewer portion of the water bill.
Second. BJ. Second. Votes.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Do we need to go ahead and do the resolution for the burden?
What you can, so for resolution. Asking for approval for resolution 2025-07, and this is just, authorizing the sale and consumption of beer and wine on on October 18th for Party for the Parks.
I make a motion that we adopt the resolution 2025-07 as said by our clerk treasurer.
Question, are they gonna be with the alcohol contained, or they can't be like all the town was?
Well, kinda. Last year, they were able to walk anywhere in the park.
Right.
They just couldn't leave the park.
That's what I thought.
Yes, they can go anywhere in the park.
So this is the resolution.
Correct, yes.
Charlie second. Votes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Do we have anybody else in the public forum that would like to say anything?
Yeah, I'd like to,
Oh, what's your name? Jim?
James Young,
James Young. And what's your address?
196 East Super Drive. Got petitions, I got more coming. To get Richard back on police officer. I've got other people that's gonna come the next meeting, Civil Liberties Committee. I feel it's wrong that a man, he done his job. A lot of people appreciate them all from Princess Lakes. Well, we appreciate you guys checking that out. Maybe give his job back to him.
Thank you.
And that's unsaid.
Good.
Richard Halen, 515 East Hoover. I would appreciate the reconsideration of my job back because I like to be here. I want to be here. This is an awful thing. Within 24 hours after I moved here, I'm still certified. I can get certified with this other training. So it's gonna be hard, I think, to retain someone here long term. Going with someone under 40, stuff like that. That's qualified because they're gonna just want to move on. So I know the ins and outs, worked here quite a bit. I'd like to have my job back.
All right. Anybody else? Go ahead, sir.
How does Richard go about getting his records for why he was let go? Like, what would be the process for him to go do that?
Get his records.
Yeah, like a FOIA request.
He's kind of a person on record.
You guys have notes about the special meeting?
Sorry,
Did you guys take notes in the special meeting?
the executive session?
Yeah,
No.
they recorded.
Yep.
But on the executive meeting.
Well, I didn't know if it was copy city. Just curious.
Anybody else? Go ahead, ma'am.
I was gonna say, as a employee at Dollar General, I can honestly say that Richard Hanlon was the only officer that stayed after his shift to make sure that all those employees left perfectly safe. He was always there. He was scheduled 9 to 9 and came in early. He would always sit out there when we closed at 10 o'clock. And everybody at Dollar General misses him. They say that it was such a great safety having him sitting outside Dollar General. Now that he's gone, they don't. A lot of them feel like they're not safe anymore. So I'm advocating for all the Dollar General employees in Princess Lakes, work late nights, stay over. Even when we had inventory, we would stay over until like midnight, 1 o'clock, and he was always sitting outside. So I would like for him to have his job back just for the safety of the Dollar General employees.
What was your name again?
Caitlin Tuckett.
Anybody else? Go ahead, sir.
Sean Seals, 30 West Bower, process question before any real comments. We have been notified that there is the possibility of the chicken ordinance coming to town council tonight. First question is that on the agenda likely to happen tonight? And if so, what is the process from this point forward Meaning, does it just get adopted and then the town council itself holds a public hearing on the proposed ordinance change or what?
Do you intend to discuss it tonight?
You guys can bring it to us, correct?
I need to some privacy.
So procedurally, the planning commission held a public hearing. That's the statutory requirement. Planning commission has sent that ordinance on to the town council with a favorable recommendation. Which means that the planning commission is recommending that the town council adopt. It is up to the town council to either adopt the ordinance, choose not to adopt the ordinance, or it can amend the ordinance if it wants to. The ordinance will become effective upon its adoption by the town council. I have the ordinance to distribute tonight. I have formatted it a bit differently, but have not made any substantive changes to it. And it's available for you to discuss tonight, to whatever extent you choose to. If you don't act on it within 60 days, it will be deemed to be adopted.
Well, we're gonna have to work on that, to make sure we do talk about it and vote on it. But I think we need all 5 members here to do it.
Well, that's fine. You've got 60 days before it takes effect, but those are the procedural steps under the.
Exactly,
under the
Randy. I
ordinance
don't
of
know
the-
if you think
under
there's
state
time there
statute.
with comments if it's not going to be on the table today. And if there seems to be a consensus that you want all 5 here, then it's not going to be on the table today.
I'm fine with all 5 of us being here.
I have a question. So would this ordinance affect every household in Princess Lakes?
Yep.
Only if you choose to have chickens.
It'll affect it one way or the other, whether you have chickens or not have chickens.
Correct.
So the conservancies with their CCRs cannot override the law.
If there are covenants of the various associations, those covenants are still enforceable. The town cannot adopt an ordinance that strips away the covenants of the Lake Voters Association.
So if they're allowed to have 5 chickens, and the covenant says you can't have 5 chickens, who wins?
The covenant.
The lakes can't tell people what they can have on their land and not.
If the covenant already exists, if there is a declaration of covenants of the Lake Owners Association that are in effect, then those are binding. Can't.
Would that be something when Mr. Prince originally adopted and did these lakes and made up his
That
plans?
has nothing to do with Howard Prince.
Yeah, but I mean, what he put in the original plat on it. But how can the lake tell the people what they can or cannot have on their property? They're only responsible for the one.
Subdivisions do it all the time.
Because they bought their lot subject to those covenants. And I don't know what the covenants say. What the lakes can't do is they can't have the board or the association meet and impose new covenants unless there is a requisite vote of the owners in favor of it. So I don't know what these say. What is customary, what you see is pretty typical in declarations of covenants, is if there is an interest in amending a covenant or adding a new one, it will typically take a supermajority vote of the current owners to amend the declaration. It may take 70% or 2/3 or something, not just a simple majority.
I haven't heard
And
of any lakes having that on their
I don't know.
CCR.
But the answer to the question is the town cannot adopt an ordinance that strips away or supersedes the private covenants of an association. That's the answer to the question.
The reason I say that is I wouldn't expect or think that people who live on a lake, when they sell their house and they want new people to come in and buy, they don't want to buy a house that's got chickens all over the dang place and water. You know, it's not a farming community, it's a lake. community.
Well, but whether that is controlled
That's my
by,
opinion.
whether that is controlled by a town ordinance or whether that is controlled by a restriction that is a part of restricted covenants in a declaration of covenants, depends on whether those exist or not, right? And I don't know, I don't know whether y'all know whether there are any restrictions in existing declarations for some of the lakes that address animals that would be relevant to this or not.
I've never heard of any
I
in
don't know.
30 years of living here.
I looked at you, I think had sent me an email asking that question, and I had looked for on the East Lake Water Association website, and the Declaration of Covenants isn't posted.
Yeah.
It isn't there, so I couldn't find out.
What I don't sense, I don't sense that's actually a process that most of the library associations or the conservancies actually employ.
Yeah, maybe not. It certainly would be
Lake
today.
rules, right,
In-
that's what they all have, are their. lake
Right.
rules.
I get it.
And you're not saying that is not an equivalent in legal terms, yes or no, is that an equivalent?
It is enforceable against the lot owners by the association and the other lot owners. Those restrictions are. So like nowadays, if you see a new homeowners association's declaration of covenants, I can guarantee you, every one of them will have some restriction that will relate to what animals can be kept on the property. It's different with a lake because you're principally focused on the lake, not so much the property around the lake and what people can and can't do as it relates to the water. But I don't know whether when these were drafted 80, 90 years ago, whenever that was,
Back in the 40s, whenever.
yeah, whether there were included in those any restrictions related to animals, pets, or anything like that, livestock. But if they are, then the lake owners associations can enforce those against the property owners just as a private covenant. And whatever the town does has no effect on that at all, ever.
So what I think I hear you saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is if any lake within Princess Lakes has lake rules in place that clearly articulate you can't have ABC on your property, on the lakeside, whatever the hell it is, right?
Right.
That cannot be superseded by a town ordinance.
Correct.
I'm thinking. Maybe it ticked past tense.
Go ahead.
Give you 196 guy.
Thanks.
What about all the people that's had chickens in here for years?
Don't pass it.
I don't think there's been a fish kill.
Huh?
I think there's been a fish kill yet.
That was his point. Yeah, but that's my point. You're gonna set a rule up that, what about the people that's had chickens in here for years? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Well, if they have, and I know there have, they've been violating the zoning. That today at this moment would be a violation of the current zoning ordinance and has been in effect.
So do we want to wait until Brian's here, to talk about chickens?
We didn't pass the orders out, let everybody read it. Yeah, but then we bring it up.
I'm good with wait till Brian. We can have all five of them here. That's fine.
I will though, let me take
Yeah, oh yeah.
the op.
Other things in there, we got the chickens and stuff.
Well, that's a different one.
So that's what I'm saying.
So this ordinance would amend the zoning ordinance to allow,
I put this down.
yeah, to allow backyard chickens. And sort of add that use to the zoning ordinance as a permitted use, subject to the rules and conditions of this ordinance. And it would be in addition to the zoning ordinance. There also is
a proposed amendment to the zoning ordinance that just amends provisions of the zoning ordinance that are already in. And the planning commission has worked really hard for a long time, going through the whole thing and have come up with this list of things that they think need to be changed in the existing ordinance. Chicken ordinance would be an addition to the ordinance. And so I talked with Kevin and sent to him both of these ordinances and the resolution that he assigned. Let me pass that out. This is the resolution from the Plan Commission to the town council. The Plan Commission recommends approval of both of these ordinances. The addition of the chickens and the amendments.
What? Give me amendments.
Yeah, I'll get that. And the extent to which I packaged it a bit differently from how the planning commission forwarded it out. He has reviewed it and is fine with those changes and agrees that they are what is embodied in these two ordinances is in fact what the planning commission has approved. If that's all. I mean, it's packaging. They had put it in the form of an ordinance that the planning commission adopted. Well, the planning commission can't adopt it. That's only the town council can. So it really was just repackaged. And I've got this is the one that is the amendments to the existing provisions of the ordinance that the planning commission is suggesting you approve.
So, I mean, I think as many as you know, there are people in here that have chickens already that have already gone through the variance process. The only thing that this is doing is saying that you no longer have to go through the variance process and pay $200 to get chickens if you qualify. Well, that's what I'm getting to. The only thing this does is prevent you from having to go through that process and pay that $200 fee. Okay,
Providing we stick like.
providing you meet the stipulations set forth in the new ordinance. The $25 licensing fee that's going to be imposed per year for anybody that wants to come up and register, it's just saving the homeowners $175 to have to come in, apply for the variance, so on and so forth. That's all this is doing. It's nothing more than hasn't already been done. There's people in here that have gone through that process, have chickens, and there. So.
Well, certainly back simply to his end, since you're looking this way, we'll look this way. Certainly back to his point, the issue isn't the variance. The issue is there are existing chicken coops in Princess Lakes that have not applied for variances.
Correct.
They have been here for years. It has been brought to folks' attention and nothing has happened. And the question that he's raising is why make all these rules if they're never going to be enforced?
And as Kevin spoke in the last meeting, they don't go around looking for infractions.
We have called, people have called.
And I understand, and he also said, and he also said, and our building inspectors also said that they've put the fines on hold until this is resolved. Now, if those people still have chickens and they don't meet the requirements, they're gonna have to get rid of.
There's already one, the chicken coop on a slope to the lake that will not meet those requirements. Why is it still there?
Because this hasn't been adopted yet, but this gives him the right.
It's illegal to have the chickens in the first place.
That's with the building inspector and planning commission. All this is going to allow him now go and say, this no longer applies. This is enforceable now, as it was before. But now you know about it. Now he knows about it. He can go to them now and say, hey, you don't meet the requirements. You can't have chicken.
They don't meet the requirements.
And I understand that they've already had it here. We've already got a rule. That's not me. That's not anybody here. That's our building inspector right now and the planning commission.
Process. The process will be the same. the result will be the same. That is the concern.
That's
health there.
That's, it's like breaking to us tonight with vehicles. But they,
that you couldn't have chickens in town, we had chickens.
So we had to get rid of them. Well, that's supposed to be in the ordinance.
and again,
It's
people,
like you can't have a business in town, but there are people who got business in town.
and people have slipped under the radar and chickens. I mean, I can't, I'm not fighting for them. I'm not fighting for the people that did it illegally. I'm just fighting for the people that want to do it legally. Okay, that's it.
My neighbor believes that she does not live in Princess Lakes. She believes she lives in the unincorporated smart, so she can have chickens. Even after I showed him on the Beacon website and some of my documentation when I closed on my house. We can enforce that.
We need to make an official complaint with the building inspector's office. He will follow up on that.
An official,
You came in and filled out a complaint form.
How I did last week.
I mean, that's the whole basis behind it. If you got a complaint, you gotta come in and officially file a complaint. And then he can go out and, again, we don't go around, he doesn't go around looking, seeing things, especially if they're hidden behind the house. He's not gonna go through your yard. Go look at them. That's what, if you got an issue with it, you file a complaint. It's a process.
So they were in my yard. Ripped it up. She got a video.
A 2-minute long video.
so go make an official complaint.
I really don't want to do that, but I don't see how stuff's
So
gonna.
then why are you
We
complaining?
can't fix what we don't.
Yeah, you can't, you have to go make an official complaint.
You know. I don't really want to do all that, but how are we gonna, I want like a soft approach and just kind of enforcing this stuff, but I don't see it being done.
Well, then you need to go talk to your neighbor. And if your neighbor doesn't comply, then you have to file a complaint.
I don't want to see enforcing order for chickens, they're like pets, you know, like it's only that big as a. like a-
Okay, so you don't want her to have chickens, or you're fine with her having them because they're pets? Which one is it?
My question is, how are we gonna enforce these?
We just explained it. It's the planning commission and the building inspector.
Until formal complaints filed, Bill can do nothing.
My next question is the composting. There's the composting there. Something about being in a sealed container. So what do we do when it's full? There's no process in there about like how to deal with the compost. That was my question. So I'm in a sealed container, it's full, what do I do with it? Dump it out, trash?
I don't think the process comes close. I didn't get her dress and stop it.
So what other than
Well, did you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I just wanted to address, there are 2 properties currently that came to the planning committee meeting. Both have agreed to take their chickens out if this doesn't pass. One of them has to do with an elderly parent that just can't live with them. And the other one, they're willing to take them away. They were both very sincere about it, and I realize I'm still breaking the rules. But they have agreed if this doesn't go through, then remove their chickens.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, and just to understand, nobody's attacking you.
No,
They're questioning the process.
Yeah.
And the people that, everybody's got their challenges, right? If my mom moved in with me, I guarantee we'd have new challenges. And chickens would not be a priority either way. So I get where you're going.
No, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of perspective that they're not all of them are being ignored. And they have come to the planning committee and said basically, mea culpa, we'll take them out. You just tell us when. Then we had a third, just gone. We had a third that had chickens and a rooster.
Yeah.
And I understand that the rooster is gone.
He did say, he make it to the garage because they thought there was
So
something.
it's making
But
a point I
again,
need to know about it.
another problem for another day.
Yeah.
You had a question?
Yeah, and it was brought up when I'm Ted Bum, 8406 South Drive, part of the planning commission. I helped develop this. It did take quite a while. There's pros and cons and everything. One of the things that was brought up during our open meeting was how are we gonna track this? How do we track a complaint? Software.
when I talked about software, I know that's another expense for the town. But it's not just chickens. I know there's a lot of other complaints to town, right? How are we tracking any of that? Obviously now it's a paper trail. That's very difficult. Is there any plans in the future of possibly looking for not just chickens, but more
Yes.
complaints for housing or driveways or vehicles or anything that we just brought up earlier?
Yeah, so I have a meeting, I thought it was last week, but it's this week on Thursday. It's called 311. And it's a nationwide service that other cities in town use, like Chicago uses it, Louisville uses it, I think Terre Haute or Fort Wayne, one of the two uses it. And I don't know, I think I've seen a cost on maybe $1,200 a year, so it's very affordable. And it would really help out everybody on both ends of it because I know there's an app that we can do, or you just log onto our website. If you see an issue, you can report it. And I don't know the logistics of it, so I'm assuming, if it's a water leak, it's gonna go to Scott. If it's a loose dog or whatever, it's gonna go to the police department. That part of it, I don't know, because I haven't had the meeting with them yet, but it is a tool, that I'm definitely very interested in, and I wanna get more information from it, because if somebody does say, hey, this person has a horse living in their yard, they can go on there, make the complaint, it's gonna go to our building inspector, and then anybody in town, really, it's a website, so everyone in the world can log on there and they can see it. This complaint was made on this date on a horse in the backyard, and they're gonna see every step of the way what happened with that horse to try to remedy the situation. So that is starting to be in the process right now.
All right, so we're just gonna wait until Brian's here. Okay, so that, all right, Scott.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out how we can make more money with this. Actually, I did want to bring up, I know I've mentioned it to a few of the Edinburgh town manager has contacted me. And we've had a couple conversations about possibly we would be interested in wholesaling some water to them. And I answered just some very basic questions. Do we have capacity? Different things like that. And he reached out to Lindsay. He did talk to their town board last month. I've not heard back from him, but it sounds like they're moving forward with trying to pull that DR Horton subdivision back in. So I just kind of wanted you guys to know that we've just been having some conversations. Everything's been very, like I said, I haven't given them anything that's not public record.
So, ask you this. Can we do? I understand your electrical cost went up significantly due to the Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Is there any way that we can do or some sort of a barter on that?
I don't know, Anthony, but I've wondered the same.
Lower our electrical costs, that way we're able to supply them the water. And kind of lessen our burden.
That's a great question, and I don't know the answer to that. Do you?
They follow the same aquifers that we do? No. Oh, they don't?
No, it's actually different. And I don't know enough about them. I know they do not have near the same water quality that we have, even though it's coming from the other side of the creek. I know that's what you're thinking. They're on the other side of the river, but it's not. So it's also more of a production for them. They do not have the capacity that we do. So like I said, I mean, that's if we could pick up another wholesale customer like that, I think that would be a very positive for everyone. So anyway, just kind of wanted to, I like to let you guys know, and that's just in the very entry level, obviously. So we did get the report back from that 3-day EPA inspection that they did on Camp Atterbury, which included our water plant and everything, and it was actually very satisfactory. We didn't have any deficient. Actually, we don't have to do anything. So that was very positive.
Yeah, good job.
on August 28th, Eric had closed the SRF loan for the reservoir project. And actually on September 10th, they actually broke ground. More just exploratory. They dug up and found the old, foundation from the old tower that was there before, and it's still there.
It was like
Oh.
3 feet, right?
Like 3 foot solid concrete, so, yeah. And they did some demo work, but actually, that was more for them to see what I don't expect much to happen for the next couple of weeks. That was for them to more figure out what equipment they need to come in and do the demolition. We did not get that decent or the DOD grant. You guys haven't heard. We did not get it this time. I have no idea why. No debriefing yet or anything like that. But looking at cup half full, Lee and I got a very positive, email from Chad Willis, I believe, from Indiana DNR. That basically said our easement for the state property is still moving forward. So.
I was really enthused. I hope it's not over speed.
I know, definitely led us to believe that, so. And on that same note, they've changed the rules for the income survey, who can qualify to apply for Okra. They've changed those rules a little bit. We now do qualify. We meet that requirement. So Lindsay signed Friday, I think. And so what Christy Gerald sent in was just to get the official approval. Can we do the income survey? But it is looking fairly positive for that Okra grant. If we move forward with this project. So there again, we're trying to lay this groundwork to keep this thing going down the road, even if it's a couple years down. So, that just took place last week. But I'm excited. I'm trying not to let myself we've been trying to get this easement for years, feels like.
Yeah.
Well, it has been years. So I think we're really close to getting, oh, and as far as we supplied everything to Keystone as far as the new rates. And we're anticipating a November bill would be the first and possibly December. But we did submit everything to them that what they needed.
While you're thinking, congratulations again for staying over 80% for the
Thank
last
you.
5 months.
We're starting to hang in. We're kind of leveling. We're staying in that low 80s now. I'm glad to see that. Very glad to see that. On the wastewater side, things have been fairly quiet. Batterberry dumped their pool on us without letting us know. That kind of disrupted our plant a little bit. So they typically let us know, and it's more of a slow drain. This was a dump all at once. We didn't know what was happening all week, but we had a lot of water coming, a lot of highly chlorinated water coming out, which is the bugs at the plant don't like chlorine. So that kind of messed us up a little bit. We're back to normal again. And we did have one of our Fleming lift station pumps burn up last week that we've had to replace, and then we always keep a spare. So that one will get sent off, and when it gets rebuilt, that'll be our spare. Other than that, guys,
I got a question for you. Is there any way on our bills, our monthly water bills, and some people don't laugh, but, those are odd to them anyways, that we can do like a roundup on the bill if somebody chooses to round up to help somebody out that might be.
I don't know, Anthony, I don't know. I have no idea. You leave.
Well, yeah, I don't know what, but
I'm like Keystone software line stuff like that. I really have no clue how that would work, but I'm sure
Everything rounded up would be added to like a separate fund.
right.
And then out of that fund, if somebody came to the town or whatever, said, hey,
I think the challenge would be how do you then allocate that money among people who,
allocation process,
yeah, but
income, application process, hardship.
I know, but one person gets and another one doesn't, and what are the criteria that result in the decision being made that you get relief and you don't?
What if we,
Like the electrical.
Yeah, I know. I mean, but you'd have to have that sort of protocol set up.
Right.
I think
Eric would have to set it up too.
What,
that's just software. That's just.
Yeah.
I mean, could we partner with the township trustee?
I don't know. I mean, and maybe even transfer the money there and let them do that. I don't know. That's a great idea. I haven't had it presented before. I can think of no reason why you couldn't. I think it would be just a matter of coming up with the criteria for deciding who gets the relief and under what circumstance. It's a great idea.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I just follow up and ask some questions, find out.
there's people here that struggle on one thing or
Sure.
another,
Oh,
with
yeah.
higher property taxes, so on and so forth. They're,
Yeah.
No, I'll do some, on the, like the billing side of things, I'll do some research, see if we can find out, but I'm sure, I mean, yeah, that's pretty common. You see that quite a bit.
All right, Tony.
Going to slow down, so we haven't mowed in a couple of weeks. Back at Town Hall, Chuck's Pavilion's been power washed. We did some brush cutting, serviced UTV. Trimmed some trees at the park. Picked up a total of 10 tons of cold patch. Done quite a few cold patching repairs. Installed a new signpost and street signs at Lakeview and Kenman. Installed new street signs at Kenman and Salee. Dug a ditch at Howard Prince and Dyson to get the water away from the intersection. We'll be doing the same thing at Lakeview and Jeremy. And I'll be getting the utilities located at the end of Latimer to repair area of damaged pavements. And we'll be clearing a ditch at 8159 South Fox Lane to uncover the culvert. It's under there.
so on Dyson Drive, as you come around the turn there on the Pogues property. There's school bus turnaround sign, kind of leaning almost on the end of the road.
What is it? The street sign?
Yeah,
Okay.
and we get that grading back up, pushed
Yep.
over.
Dyson and Howard Prince.
That's it.
All right, Erica.
I am gonna read all the claims together and do that. That's one motion. I'm asking for approval for general claims in the amount of 205,887.92. Utilities claims, 592,762.39. August 28th allowance docket, 42,433.04. September 3rd allowance docket, 20,569.60. No, September 11th allowance docket, $43,388.80, and HWC invoice number 11 for $5,250. That one for HWC will not be paid from our funds. It will be paid through SRF funds. It just has to be approved.
You're gonna keep going, or is that we're gonna stop?
We can stop for that.
I make a motion to approve the claims as stated by our clerk treasurer.
Second.
Votes?
Yes.
Yes.
I am looking for approval for transfer resolution 2025-05 in the amount of $231,000. The reason why utilities claims are so high, and this is literally just a software housekeeping issue. There are accounts that are labeled as transfer accounts. You have to have a debit and you have to have a credit so that they even out, they wash each other out. So the $231,000 we got back from SRF for paying HWC, I cannot just receipt that into the depreciation account because then the accounts they're gonna be off out of balance for the annual financial report. So it was a little more work on my end just to get to the same result. I had to reseed it into the water. I need to transfer it out of the water to go back into water depreciation. So it's really just a maintenance housekeeping issue. That's just how it's done. There's really no other way around it. So I'm just asking for that approval for 2025-05. And then we already did 07. Yes, so I'm asking for that approval.
I make a motion that we approve transfer resolution 2025-05 in the amount of $231,000. Sorry. Brooks?
Yes.
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 Okay. We received our Anthem refund check today. And what happens is we go through this every year, but I had a different idea for 2020. If we do not need, so I'll just read it what it is. When our costs are, this is Anthem, when our costs are lower than the threshold set by the Affordable Care Act, we're required to issue premium rebates or medical loss ratio MLR rebates. So that's what this is. We get this every single year. It is $12,773.43. Typically, I just receive this back in general, just sits there, just helps keep up general to do different things. So what I'm asking, if you don't want to approve it tonight, if you want to think about it, or if you know you don't want to do it or want to do it. But bringing this up, I think it would be beneficial to the employees who have an out-of-pocket expense on their premium to divide that evenly by everybody, and then each month give them back that allocation in the system, so it's less money out of pocket for our employees to pay for their insurance premium. The money has already been budgeted. We're already paying Anthem. This is money that's coming back. So why don't we help employees by lowering their out-of-pocket costs? Some employees will basically be able to get a credit for 6 months. So I'll spread that out over the year. So it's still half of what they were paid. It's about $1,800 per employee. So, yeah. And I would like to do this in 2020. If you guys want to do this, we do it in 2026. Just because it's a full year, we only have a couple months left in 25. To me, it makes more sense logically like that.
What's required for that? 12,000.
$12,773.43. It is, like I said, around $1,800 between. There's 7, I believe, employees who.
Can you repeat that number again? Sorry,
773.43.
Okay.
What do you think, Bill, on us? What do you think about the tax implications of that?
Well,
Maybe you'll have an opinion about that too.
I don't
If
know.
we're going to take that, how do you plan to distribute it to them? You just write them a check?
No. I wouldn't write them a check. It would just be, so I have my spreadsheet of how everything is, it comes out of the different funds. So the employees portion would just be lowered, and then the town's
So
portion
the town
would
would
be,
be paying more
right, the town will be paying more, not really, because it's
on the
not back to
that
me.
half.
Correct, yes.
So we would actually, the town in 2026 would pay a higher percentage of the costs,
Correct.
reducing. Yeah, I don't think that has any tax.
Yeah.
No. Well, that's. Yeah, that's kind of brilliant,
Yeah.
actually. So. That's
Yeah.
hurts me to say, it does. But, yeah, no, that's very generous.
I'll make that motion. And we do that.
I'll second. Votes.
Question. Single person working for the town, does the town pick up 100% of their insurance?
Yeah.
So, single person is not gonna have the same benefit as.
Well, they do because a single person pays 0, and a person with a family pays a lot.
Single
So-
person is gonna get like a raise.
No. A single person's not gonna get a raise. There's nothing that's gonna change with a single person, because they pay nothing now, they're gonna pay nothing then. It's just helping people who do have to pay.
Yes.
Yes.
Um,
What, third, did we do the HWC one?
yes, we did that with all the, like,
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't check it out, my bad. Oh, yes, that's right, I meant the Centos, sorry. The-
oh, I'm sorry, that's not even on mine. I must have, okay, yes, thank you. Yes, so, I think an invoice got crossed between, Lori and I when we were on our last, training. And it did not make it onto the claims docket, so I am asking for approval for the Centos, uh, two Centos invoices in the amount of 123.02 each. So 246.04, and I'd like to be able to get them paid still this month.
This and stuff.
It's a cleaning service. They do like,
I make a motion to approve Centos in the amount of 246.04. Votes,
Yes.
yes. You good? Alright, attorney,
Yeah, I said earlier in the meeting with regard to the zoning ordinances that if you didn't act on it within 60 days, it took effect. That's actually 90 days. So you can 34 days, what I'd say. We need to, we need an unsafe building commission. Bills. So here's the thing, under the unsafe building ordinance, we have nuisance ordinances that have the condition of property and like weed, accumulation of building materials and stuff like that. And then we also have the unsafe building ordinance, which relates to the condition of structures, but it can also just be the condition of the property too. There is a property, 314 Lake, a problem property that is the subject of enforcement actions by Phil under the unsafe building ordinance. But we have to have a hearing or a committee that can hear appeals by a property owner of orders issued by Phil as our building inspector or zoning administrator. And we had it's a 3-member board. They're appointed by you, the council. Charlie is on it. Last time appointments to the board were made. Charlie was appointed and Lehman was appointed and Lori McCall was appointed. And that board had met for a few years because there hasn't been an order written. And now Phil is taking up this unsafe building enforcement. We need one. And on this particular property, we can't move forward on enforcement action because he's going to order that it be demolished. And if you order a demolition of a property or that it be vacated or that it be sealed for, I think, more than 90 days or partially demolished, you have to hold a hearing. If you order that it be repaired, or that it be cleaned up, the property owner is entitled to a hearing, but they have to ask for it. If it's a more severe order that actually, like demolition, we have to hold a hearing whether they ask for it or not. So we can't issue the order on this until we have this committee in place and we pick a date with those members of that committee to then notify the property owner that this is what you're expected to do. There's going to be a hearing on this date. You can come and present a case and appeal it or ask that the board deviate from what the building inspector has ordered. So we got to have it in place. It's a due process requirement. And I don't know who those people are because we haven't done it for several years. So I think if we say, well, who's on the board now? I think that's who it is because that's the last time an appointment was made. It's been so long. I don't know whether any of those folks still want to do it. I've talked with Charlie. I think he will. Yeah. We've talked to Lehman. I think he will. I think, maybe, I don't know, Kevin Harrison would really good at it and would do it, but I don't know. What I'm asking tonight is that the council make appointments to that board. Nice, new, fresh, shiny appointments so that we can get on with this business. And it really ought to be folks that, have the right temperament for it, who are willing to listen to people and grant them some leniency if they think it makes sense. But we also need people who are willing to enforce the orders and see to it that they serve their purpose and that these properties get addressed. And somebody who has some background in construction and knows their way around that, is probably better qualified than someone who doesn't. But I need y'all, if you would, to make a motion to appoint 3 people to be on the Unsafe Building Commission, or we call it the Unsafe Hearing Authority. So we can get on with it and start using this tool in a way that we haven't been for a while. Make sense?
And put my 2 cents worth in, since it's for sale. I walk down there and look around that thing. Don't breathe on it too long.
Well, we ought not be talking about that particular property. We really just need to be talking about who's gonna serve.
Well, I
on
didn't
this
say
committee.
what property, I just.
No, I know, but,
This is gonna be another Monica Spears.
well, maybe.
What is,
Again, the topic of this conversation is who is going to serve on this 3-member committee?
Kevin, are you,
I mean, it's an unsafe building committee?
Yeah. I think we may call it the Unsafe Building Commission.
with
Yeah,
reluctance?
under the statute, it's called the Hearing Authority. Yeah, I like the term Unsafe Building Commission. Maybe that's what we have in the statute,
A lot
but
of those.
Yeah.
So Kevin here, this
Right
gnat,
there. And anybody can
baby
serve.
flies
Yeah.
or something.
they're
They're
everywhere.
gnats,
They're
they've been
gnats?
driving me crazy all day.
So Kevin
Well, I
Harrison,
feel for you.
Thank you.
thank you.
And anybody can serve on that? There's
Anybody
no-
can. There's no qualifications. It's not a partisan appointment.
So Kevin Lehman, and who's the other person?
Oh, you're right. That's the only person who
Who was
could.
the third person?
Layman boy.
No. It was Kevin Lehman and, okay, Charlie.
And Lori. It was Lori McCall.
But who are we, who's
Why, oh.
interested in now?
Okay.
Charlie?
Yeah.
Okay,
Layman boy's on it now.
yes.
I don't know if Lori still would want to do it now or not.
No.
Oh, but you
And you're right. That's what I'm asking for. I'm asking for appointments to be made. So we know who it is with clarity and,
Yes, anyone.
and, there's nothing that prohibits a council member from being on it, but there's no requirement that a council member be on it. So,
I don't know enough about construction, that I would. No. Okay,
I mean, we got this guy here too, but I don't want to. Yeah, who knows a lot about, so.
okay. Alright, so we have Lehman Boyd, Kevin Harrison, and Anthony Geiger. Kevin, is that a yes? Yes?
What?
That you would be interested in being, okay. And then we have a good idea that Lehman would still be interested.
Yeah, so
Okay.
in that case, and I don't think there's anything wrong with having more than 3 so that we can always have 3, except I think it's we can do it. I think it's a bad idea. I think in a town this size and as few times as they need, we can have 3. 'Cause you're not called upon to meet very often. I really think that,
Are there terms?
no,
No? Okay.
I don't know. I mean, if Anthony's, it's hard to pass on. I mean, to have someone with, construction experience and is, I mean, that's what it's about. I mean,
Yeah.
the subject matter of this committee is the condition of buildings, right? So there you have it.
Okay.
Talk about who's qualified.
So, but anybody can make a motion to.
Yeah.
Okay, so I make a motion to, create the unsafe.
Wait, I'm screwing up. We can't have 3 council members be on it.
No, it's Lehman, Kevin, and Anthony.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. We can't have 3 because that's what you.
Yes.
Okay.
So, we're good?
If that's your motion.
Okay, Yes, I make a motion to create unsafe building committee and appoint Kevin Harrison, Layman Boyd, and Anthony Geiger.
Wouldn't that still be the majority? 2 out of 3?
No, there won't be 3 out of 5 council members.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm good.
You think, yeah, no,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm like,
2 out of 3 of the
listen here.
yeah.
Well, the great big pictures.
Yeah, I guess so.
Do we have a second?
Sure. You don't have a financial interest.
Anthony seconded vote. Yes.
Okay, then I'll need to chase you all down after I talk to Phil and get a layman to see when you'd be available, say in the next 3 weeks or so for a hearing. So we can get this order on that Lakeview property out. Okay,
Is it too late to hit the planning commission date for October?
what date will that be?
Over, no, never mind.
Okay.
That's my wife's birthday on.
Can't miss that, Kevin.
I'll email you around after we talk to Lane.
Yeah, if it's
Thanks.
Couldn't do that.
Thanks. And, we covered the zoning ordinance stuff. I have reached out to Republic and Raise, which is now Waste Management. And have left messages for the municipal sales reps to call me about the idea, the prospect of a trash collection contract in Princess Lakes, and I have not called back. And I reached back out, and that's only been in the last week or the end of the week before last week. So it's not like, but it's been a minute. I mean, it's not like it was this afternoon either. But I haven't heard back. I reached back out the best way to Kim Chatswell there, and said my sense is that you all simply don't have the equipment that is suitable for Princess Lakes, given it. And her response was, if you request bids, I'd like to know about it so we can decide. And that was the last word. I mean, she didn't say, we'll go out and buy some shiny Fisher Price trucks and, or we'll go down with gators and pull the trash up or something. So I haven't advanced the ball, or it hadn't been advanced since the last meeting. I guess I'll try again to leave messages around. I called another contractor, Strauss, it's GLS or something now, it's up in Whiteland, and they're roll off dumpsters now, but they're getting in trash collection. And actually, I thought it was good. Doing that. I don't think they're geared up yet and ready to take this on, but I'm really not convinced that. Well, I shouldn't say that because somebody's coming around and picking up trash now. I mean, somebody has to run down the sales and back up again if they just want to take it on. But that's where it stands. And so the only thing I can say to you is, let's see if I can get responses and see what they say between now and October, and I'll let you know. And it would be best to try to start at the beginning of a new year. And we still have time, but we're starting to run out of time. So if we don't get some answer, by October or something, I don't know whether it's going to be worth continuing to pursue it or not. Anyway, that's what we are.
I don't want it to come as a surprise to you guys. I said something to you too. I've thought a lot about it, and I think, obviously we're not taking a vote, but I think for the trash deal, I'm out. I think because if kind of circling back to the chickens, if I was to vote yes to the chicken ordinance, and partially for the reason of, less government overreach, I feel like requiring everybody in Princess Lakes to pick one and we pick it, I think that is government overreach. So I don't want it to come as a surprise to anybody if we continue with it, but I think I'm out on the trash deal.
I mean, it's in a way, it's not a bad idea, but there's always a but. That guy who comes around that little truck, little
Yeah.
bags in, people may be getting that for what, $5, $10 a week. But my bill is $69 for 3 months. If there's only $50 for 3 months. You know, it could affect some people.
I think it's a difficult transition to move a community who hasn't had it into it. That there tends to be some resentment, but there's a lot of order in the one truck coming through on the same day every week. You can count on whatever the scope of service is. You typically see a savings across the board because one contractor has all the business in that town, and they offer a better rate because of that. But to your point, if you live in a community where that hasn't been imposed on your residents before, there may be some pushback, and they'll have to settle into that. And at a time when things are really getting more and more expensive, utility rates are going up. It's a whole decision that's been in the past. What's on what's going on?
The whole idea behind that process.
Well, and if we invite bids, that ain't cost us anything. And one way for the community to embrace it is to say, well, we invited bids, this is what we got, this is what it cost, but it cost you that.
We got a standard, right? We've got pretty much a standard of what we were looking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why don't we just invite the bids and see what they come up with? And then.
Yeah, I mean,
There's no harm.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, I'll see about that.
Ask them to see like, we would need like 200 households or whatever to make it work.
Yeah.
Because then if people want to, you get that 200 people, then it's gonna be worth it, it's gonna be lower, and then if people wanted to, then they could join in later. So you're still providing the service, lower for some people, but you're not forcing everybody. So maybe they can come up with a number saying like, if you get this many people, it would be worth it. I don't know how
You
to do
get
that.
people needing to sign up.
Yeah, like say instead of having the entire town, well, you're still gonna get 200 customers, it's gonna cost this much, and then maybe
But they're
people
still
join in at
Yeah.
that. So you're
Well,
not,
well, I guess, except if we say, how many customers is it?
I don't know, it's like what, 600 households?
It's 800 homes in town.
100.
So if you say, if you say to, if we talk with Republic or any of us say, it's 800 customers, they can pretty well estimate what a rate would be on that.
Okay. No matter how many people.
And that's what the bid process would be.
Yeah.
But I think for that to work, the contractor has to know that we're gonna compel those customers.
Right.
It doesn't work unless the town requires it.
Right, that's what I mean, like, if they came up with a number saying, in order for this to be profitable for us and helpful for you guys, at least 280 homes have to sign up.
Right.
And so then we can put something out there saying who's interested in this, who would want this service, and we
I
get that
guess.
280.
And I think what the
Is that even
contractor's
worth
gonna
it?
say, they're gonna have to sign a contract for a certain number of years. And I think the contractor's gonna say, we're not gonna go around and sign 200 separate contracts with separate.
They would almost sign a
no.
contract with the town.
Hmm?
They would have to sign a contract.
Well, I know, but then the towns, we're gonna pick which 200 customers to force them.
Well, they kind of pick themselves if they sign up for it.
Well, I know, but what if they then opt out?
Well, they would be required, we could put in a provision in there to require them.
That's right.
Into the contract.
But then we've got contracts with 200 different people. We're not putting a blanket requirement across the whole town.
Gotcha.
That gets to be pretty unwieldy, I think. Let me see what I can learn. I can put the bids together. We can invite bids. Maybe in the interim, I'll get a phone call back and I'll throw out hypotheticals. If it's 800 customers, what do you estimate the rate to be? And if we see that it's gonna be a number that you're not gonna be comfortable with, I don't know that we should go any farther than that. I mean, they gotta respond somehow. I would think if we put out bids, I don't know how they're gonna learn that we're inviting bids if they won't. So, okay, I got it. I think I know how to.
Is that it for you?
That's it. Yeah, thanks.
All right. Old business.
Okay, I gave everybody a copy of the drawings. Marshall's, office building over there. If this does not suffice for the council, to move forward with this drawing, we can get an architect that Scott used for his building, which is pretty reasonable, to come in and do us a more professional drawing than this.
What are you estimating the cost to be this?
Well, the first bid we had was what, 27,000? And it could be, it could be now more, a little more now.
We'll be north of 100,000.
Oh, no,
Okay.
no, because we already had 11,000 something earmarked for it. And we have these two.
Well, it's what the total you're gonna spend, but not whether you had an earmark.
Oh,
But my point being, Charlie, if it's more than 100,000, we have to have in our,
Oh, yeah, oh, no.
that's a
no,
statutory.
it's-
requirement. I'm just checking.
Even with all the stuff that, until we get the guy to come out and look at it, I'm not guessing no more than 30 or 40,000.
Okay.
So we'd only take maybe 30,000, part of out of the coon cap, fund, which has got 146,000, and the edit fund, which is 155,000, which is gonna leave,
You said QCAP and what was the other one?
edit.
Edit.
Yeah, it's gonna leave each one of them with 130,000, 150,000 left. So, but we won't know for sure until we get the contractor out with the drawing that you guys are happy with, so they can give us good estimate for sure what it's gonna cost.
Have
Then
you
we move
talked
from there.
lately to Greg about this though?
Yes. Yeah, he knows, he's the one that had this drawing.
Well, I talked about it with him recently, and he was saying just to use that as a garage and like a storage.
He was just saying that because he's frustrated on how it's going. Okay? He's tired of playing the game. Personally, this is my feeling, okay? He didn't tell me that. He's tired of playing the game. Okay?
Well, but that's what he told me personally though, so you can't really speak for him.
Well, I just talked to him last week on that.
I think it was last week, I talked to him too, maybe the week before. Oh, well, he's not here, so I can't say, but that's what he told me when we discussed.
Still don't see this getting done for $30,000.
Well,
I can't.
after we get a contract and look at that drawing, one way or the other, he can tell us. We can find out that if it's gonna be $100,000, we don't do it. You know, if it's gonna be $75,000, we don't do it, because that's too much money. But until we get the contract, look at the drawing that they're happy with, and you give us a good estimate, we don't know for sure.
So truly our first step is exactly what you just said,
Architect.
an architect.
All right.
And how much,
I'll use it, call the same guy that did Scott's, and he's real reasonable.
Yes.
And I don't take this word, but he said to me between 300 and 500, he could make that drawing. But I'll have to talk to him, have him come out and look at it and give me an estimate for it.
okay, I
Yeah.
think that we should do that regardless.
Okay.
This is my opinion. I think that our police department deserves more than this. But I am fully aware of what our budget is, all the stuff that's going on, the SB1 bill and all that stuff. I don't want to keep kicking this down the road. I really don't. I think that maybe we would be better served to go a community building route and whatever, but I don't, I think that this is just keeps going. And I think Greg and his Joes and his, girls, they deserve something new. I think that they deserve better than this, but I think if he is willing to settle on this and he doesn't want to keep pushing whatever, then, and we can use these QCAP edit and then the 11,000 that we already, I think that's what we need to do.
Can I get an approval to get the architect out for, let's say, no more than 1,000, just be on the safe side?
I make a
Because,
push.
because really, he don't need a motion for that if Greg doesn't, because he.
Well, yeah, no, he doesn't. We don't need a motion. He or you can go and get that guy, as long as it's not over $2,000,
Right.
then just do it. We don't need to make a motion. Anything else on that? Okay. I have a question. Is there, and I don't know if this is for you or who, do we have an ordinance that when a business owner or resident contacts a council member to make a complaint on an employee or a police officer, that we are not supposed to take it, that they are supposed to come to town hall and write an official complaint?
I don't think we have an ordinance.
Okay.
but you don't have a requirement to take a complaint.
Well, right, so, I mean, you're aware of, I have gotten text messages from a business owner complaining about the police officers quite often. And one of the officers told me that however long ago that there was an ordinance that was created because somebody was doing the same thing, they were constantly texting council members, making complaints. And then whoever the council was at the time made an ordinance that that a council member could not take a complaint over the phone, through text, whatever. They had to come up to town hall and make an official complaint. So I'm just trying to make sure for future reference.
I've been doing this a long time, and my old brain's kind of crusty. But
Yeah.
nothing about that rings familiar.
Okay,
No.
I just want to make sure going forward.
But if I were council member and that was happening, I think I would say, if you want to submit to me in writing, if you want
Perfect.
to communicate to me a complaint, feel free to do that. I'm not going to be responding to any more of your things.
Perfect.
You have that prerogative.
Yes, I just wanted to ask because
So,
said officer said that there is an ordinance and I have asked and nobody knows.
and not only does it ring familiar, it just doesn't strike me as something that would have ever been reduced to an ordinance.
That's fair. I just want to make sure to cover.
Policy may have been a discussion, may have been some kind of consensus, but I don't think it's an ordinance. And so that's my suggestion on how to deal with it.
Okay. Got it. That was my question. Any more old business? Any new business? Perfect. 8:22.
Damn, that hurts.
No, I saw